If you're drafting on Sleeper, you really are stuck with only one draft strategy that works, and it's because of the values that you're going to see in the middle to late rounds. Now, honestly, in the early rounds, there's not that much that stands out. Whenever we've looked at Yahoo, ESPN drafts, I've been able to break it down by round and tell you, oh, round 1, these are your targets. Round 2, these are your targets. Round 3, these are your targets. Honestly, Sleeper ADP is completely fine in the early rounds. Now, definitely there are some things that stand out. Like McCaffrey goes in round 2 in a lot of Sleeper drafts. I personally have him ranked at the end of round 1, and he has an average ADP across all platforms at 9.6 in comparison to Sleeper at 14. Devon Achane goes at pick 16 on Sleeper. I would take him as early as pick 11. Chase Brown goes at pick 29, so 100%. Like, you need to be getting Chase Brown in your Sleeper draft if you can, which we'll do a mock draft later in this video, really hoping that we can get him. Devontae Adams goes in the 4th. I would take Devontae Adams in the 3rd. Amari Hampton goes in the 4th. I would take Amari Hampton in the 3rd, even with Slater being out for the season. And then there are some early round avoids, like Terry McLaurin goes in the 3rd. I think he should be a 4th. Rashee Rice goes in the 4th. I wouldn't take him until the 5th. Joe Burrow goes in the 4th. I wouldn't take him until the 6th. But where you begin to really see where the bad draft picks are on Sleeper, it's going to be in the middle to late rounds. Starting in round 5, the best values on the board in my mind are going to be Xavier Worthy and Devonta Smith. And it's very important to note that these are going to be 2 wide receivers. They have an average ADP across all platforms at 49 and 53. On Sleeper, they go at pick 55 and 54. Personally, I have them ranked as around 4 selections. Looking at the bad values, you're going to have Joe Mixon, Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, and somehow Patrick Mahomes is going in round 5 of Sleeper drafts at the moment. I wouldn't take Mahomes until the 8th round. And this is very reminiscent of what we were seeing on Yahoo, on ESPN as well, where people are making a horrible mistake in that they draft 2 wide receivers, they draft 2 running backs inside the first 4 rounds, and they go, okay, well, I filled up my starting lineup. Let me go ahead and take a quarterback. Let me go ahead and take a tight end in the middle rounds because I don't really need another running back. No. Based off the quarterback values you're going to see at the very end of this draft, again, very similar to ESPN, very similar to Yahoo, these quarterbacks and tight ends going in rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are going to be the worst picks on the board. And if you want to get yourself an elite quarterback, which if you're playing in a draft where you only have one flex spot, you do it early. But if you don't want to get that elite quarterback with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels in the 3rd round, Jalen Hurts in the 4th round, then you're going to wait until the very end of your draft. Same thing. You want a tight end? Go get Bowers in round 2. Go get McBride in round 3. Go get Kittle in round 4. If you miss on those guys, don't be taking Laporta or TJ Hawkinson in round 5. Round 6 targets, we're going to have Ted McMillan, Jalen Waddle, and Trevion Henderson. We're looking at clear avoids in this instance of Isaiah Pacheco and Travis Kelce. Kelce has an ADP of pick 83 across all platforms. On Sleeper, he goes to pick 68. In my rankings, I have him at 94. And again, that's where you go back to these draft sheets being so important, because in the very beginning of your drafts, rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, they're not going to help you out that much. They can put you in a decent position to take advantage of the middle rounds. But these middle rounds, if your league mates are using just the Sleeper ADP list, they are going to be screwed. They are going to be behind the 8 ball. And if you want a draft sheet to take to your fantasy football draft this year, I would highly recommend getting a personalized draft sheet for your exact platform, for your exact league settings. I have posted 50 of them on flockfantasy.com. And if you want to get access to your draft sheet, rest of season rankings through the entire year, weekly rankings through the entire season, not only from myself, but all the creators on flockfantasy.com, plus trade calculator, trade finder, range of outcomes tool, player comparison, start sit tool. It's all on flockfantasy.com. For only a one-time payment of $34, you're going to get access to all of that until January 1st. And if you use promo code FLOCK, I will answer your start sit questions and your trade questions on the live streams that we're doing every single night. I'm going to leave the link to flockfantasy.com in the description and the comment section. Now, going over to round 7, you actually have some running back values, and this is going to be one of The very rare instances you see this in these sleeper drafts. DeAndre Swift, ADP on sleeper at pick 76. Caleb Johnson, ADP at pick 80. Their average ADP across all platforms are going to be 66 and 69. If you're looking at my rankings, I have them at 62 and 63. And then you have some continued wide receiver values here. Calvin Ridley and Rome Odunze would be smashes here in round 7. What's actually funny is the expert average rankings on flockfantasy.com have Rome going in like round 5. And then the round 7 avoids, very similar to the previous rounds, the quarterbacks and tight ends. Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix, Evan Ingram. Looks like people are just taking them because they thought, oh, I already drafted 3 wide receivers. Why would I take a 4th one instead of my first quarterback? Trust me, just take the 4th. And then Judkins looks like sleeper's a really big problem on their platform where if you're not staying up to date with news, they are very slow to update their ADP. Like Quinshon Judkins obviously has no business going inside the top 100 picks in fantasy football drafts at the moment, which is why if you look at the master ADP, you'll see that he's after pick 100. In my rankings, he's well after pick 100 as well, but in sleeper drafts, he's going in round 7 almost every single time with an ADP of pick 70. And your league mates may see like, oh, Judkins, he falls down to pick 95, 25 picks past ADP. Let me take the value here. And in reality, he's not a value, just sleeper has the ADP wrong. Round 8 targets, you should be going after more wide receivers. Jawan Jennings, Stephon Diggs. The round 8 avoids, similar. Quarterback, tight end are bad picks. Don't take Jared Goff. Don't take Jonnu Smith. Round 9 targets, this is where you really hammer it home with Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Ricky Pearsall, Josh Downs. Like I have them ranked like 20 spots ahead of where they go in sleeper drafts. And same thing, their master ADP is higher for every single one of these players outside of Josh Downs because ESPN has them at like 140. And then your late round targets, you got every single position mixed in. Jordan Mason, Igbuka, Michael Pittman Jr., Caleb Williams, Justin Fields, Keon Coleman, Trey Benson, Trevor Lawrence, Nick Chubb, Hollywood Brown, Hunter Henry, Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson, Tua. But what's very important here is you won't see those quarterback values until the very end of your draft on sleeper. Like Justin Fields has an ADP of pick 130, whereas we go back and we look at a quarterback maybe going in round 5, with Patrick Mahomes, realistically, what's going to be the points per game difference between Patrick Mahomes and Justin Fields? I don't think it's going to be 8 total rounds of difference there. And same thing if we're going to be looking at those quarterbacks like Tua that you would reasonably just get with the last pick in your draft. And then the avoids, like Najee Harris is a clear avoid. But again, that goes right back to just sleeper, not keeping their ADP up to date. So you need to make sure that you are on top of the news. But the big strategy that you are pigeonholed into with these sleeper drafts is almost 0 wide receiver. Because again, we go back and we look at what you have in the early rounds. The early round targets, you have 4 of our targets being running backs and only 1 being wide receiver. Whereas we go through and we look at our targets in the middle rounds, once you get to round 7, 8, and 9, the vast majority of those targets are wide receiver. You can get Rome Odunze in round 7. You can get Stephon Diggs in round 8. You can go ahead and get Matthew Golden in round 9, maybe Igbuka in round 10. So what I'm going to be doing in this mock draft on sleeper is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to try to get myself the elite running backs at the top, possibly try to grab an elite quarterback and or an elite tight end and put myself in a position where I know I'm going to be taking wide receivers round 6 through 10, and hopefully we hit on a couple lottery tickets. Sleeper doesn't have public mock drafts the way we do on flockfantasy.com, so we're actually going to do something that's very interesting. I got a couple guys from the Discord, and we are going to do half bots and half real people in this sleeper draft because these are super sharp drafters. So we're going to draft as if you're drafting against a couple idiots in your league that don't really pay attention until maybe September, and then a couple guys who really know what they're doing. So let's go ahead. Let's start this draft. We're going to be out of the 5 hole. And of course, we're going to be using our draft sheets here to make sure that we are getting the most accurate picks and rankings that we can have for this draft. So Chase, Barkley, Bijan, all off the board. And we actually see a surprise pick of Amon-Ra St. Brown. And again, going over and looking at our strategy that we are trying to implement earlier in this video, I want to be able to get great values at wide receiver through the middle rounds. So I'm going to go ahead. I will take Jahmyr Gibbs at the 5 slot. That way we can put ourselves in a strong position to hopefully get those wide receivers that we like in round 7, 8, 9, 10, and possibly even 11. So I get a surprise here. I really didn't want to have to do this, but sometimes it's going to happen in your drafts, right? Drake London, I've ranked at 16, Sleeper ADP 17, Master ADP 16.73. In our power ranking, he's right at 16. Essentially consensusly priced across the board. He makes it to us here at pick 20. So we're going to go ahead and take Drake London, and hopefully we can grab another running back in round 3 or round 4 that we like. Not too expensive of a cost. So we get extremely lucky. Our best available player, according to our draft sheets, going to be Jonathan Taylor, which we needed a running back, and we get him here at the 305. So now that we have Gibbs and Taylor at running back, the wide receiver mid-round values are 100% in play for us. I was hoping we were going to get Amari Hampton. He goes right before us, leaving us our best available player being James Cook. Seems weird taking your third running back before your second receiver. But again, we want the wide receiver values in the middle rounds, so we'll take the running back. Best player on Sleeper's board is actually going to be James Conner. However, using our draft sheets, we're going to see Xavier Worthy here, especially knowing that we got the running backs early. I'm completely fine taking Xavier Worthy in round 5, who's one of our targets, over James Conner in round 5, who is one of our avoids. So we are on the clock again. If you look at our sheet, here we are looking at Mixon, Swift, Olave, Rome, Pacheco, Addison being the values. I think we can afford to go ahead and take Calvin Ridley here, given the fact that we are pretty comfortable at wide receiver. Even though you do have Swift in a great spot, we can just take the best player available. Absolute brutal run out here. I was hoping that we were going to get Caleb Johnson. He goes one pick before us. So now we're going to be stuck with Tony Pollard as the best player available. So we'll double tap the Titans starting receiver and starting running back here at the 6-7 turn, and we'll hope that Cam Ward is good. Again, we get sniped. We had Jawan Jennings as the best player on our list, and now we're going to have to go down. What's actually interesting here is I told you not to draft the middle round quarterbacks like Burrow there at the end of the 4th, Mahomes in the 6th. But we are going to take a mid-round quarterback. We are going to take Bo Nix here at the end of the 8th round. He is the highest available player on our board. We get a pretty big fall where Sleeper actually has an ADP of pick 78 for him. So we'll take our first quarterback here with Bo Nix. We have London, Worthy, Ridley at receiver. We have Gibbs, Taylor, James Cook, and Pollard at running back. So it's not like we're struggling at the skill positions. So we're at a really good spot at this point where our highest graded players, we have Emeka Egbuka up here. We also have Jordan Mason, but again, we're at the point of this draft where we have 4 comfortable running backs to rely on. So we can just go ahead and take Egbuka here at the 905, who at this point is looking like one of the best values in all of Sleeper drafts, where you can get him in the 10th round a lot of times. But I'm fine reaching on him because I have him all the way up ranked in the 80s. I'm afraid that maybe we missed something because my tracking saying that we still have Michael Pittman Jr. on the board. And if that's true, yep, it is. I think we're going to probably get Daniel Jones as the starting quarterback, which is probably a good thing for Pittman over Richardson. We're to the point where we really can pivot over to quarterbacks, tight ends, etc. And if we're going to look at the best players available on our board of those positions, we do have Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields, if you look at Sleeper ADP, he's not supposed to go for quite some time, but in reality, I'm going to go ahead and reach on him. At this point, I don't really think the ADP matters at all in Sleeper with how bad it is. And I think when we have Fields and Bo Nix, both realistically have the upside to be top 5 quarterbacks in fantasy this year. So you know you did something right when you are on the clock and the best tight end that you have available to you is Zach Ertz. So sadly, we'll be streaming the position, but we are going to go ahead and we're going to run with either Hunter Henry or Zach Ertz. We have Henry higher on our big board, but looking at the ADP, I think we probably get Hunter Henry on the way back. So we'll take Ertz here, Henry on the way back, and then defense kicker to round us out. So I wish Sleeper had a draft analyzer like we do on flockfantasy.com. And also, shout out to y'all drafting on our site. We just passed 55,000 drafts today, which is incredible. But anyway, running back, we have Gibbs, Taylor, James Cook, Tony Pollard. Wide receiver, London, Xavier Worthy, Calvin Ridley, Egbuka, Michael Pittman Jr. Quarterback, Bo Nix, Justin Fields. We're going to be streaming tight ends. If this was my team in the Flock League, I would be pumped. Now, do I think I'm going to be able to do it? No, because I think I'm drafting against people who are going to be bringing their own sheets to drafts and not using the sleeper ADP. But again, highly recommend, if you have not done so already, go check out flockfantasy.com. Get access to draft sheets for any platform, including Sleeper, that you're able to use for your exact league settings. Also, with the $34 season pass, you're going to get access to every fantasy football tool that we have on the site, plus updated every single week. You are going to get rest of season rankings. You are going to be able to get updated daily, weekly rankings during this season as well. And if you use code FLOCK, you will get me to answer your start sit questions and your trade questions in the live stream, which we are doing every single night during the season. So definitely think it's the best fantasy football tool you can possibly find. And it's only $34, so probably the cheapest as well. But I appreciate you and hope I can draft with you in the live stream later tonight.